Hello, friends, and welcome to Figure Study, where we are back with even more Tobots. Seriously. Again. And there's still more. But we're not just back with Tobots, we are back with Tobot V, this time with Tobot V Super Driller. This little guy, who's actually kind of little in comparison to Tobots in general, is actually a new component for Master V, which if you remember from the video I did on Master V, which there'll be a link up there for you all if you haven't seen it yet, I mentioned that there are going to be other Tobots coming out that'll eventually be able to link up with Master V and make him bigger and more absurd. And so this is the first one of, I think there are two more. I know at the very least there's still a train and some kind of plane. I don't remember if there's one more on top of that, but there are at least two more left. But Super Driller here is going to be new arms for Master V. But before we get to the new arms, we can still look at Super Driller as a standalone figure. Don't worry, I will be getting to the arms in this video. So, Super Driller is this absurdly large drilling machine that does not look like a real-world vehicle at all. It seems more like something that was in Total Recall, possibly. It looks good for what it is. I think it's kind of cool how you've got like the big drills. Is that? Ah, okay, it's just like some gunk or something that was on there. That's weird. Anyway, you've got the big drills that I would assume functionally the big drills break up the larger chunks of earth and rock and whatnot, and then the smaller drills further pulverize the stuff. And it's kind of wedge-shaped, which it's weird for a drilling machine to actually seem like there might actually be a sense of realism to its design. But like because it's wedge-shaped, I can kind of see it like breaking through the big chunks here, this breaking the big chunks into even smaller chunks, and then everything kind of just going up and over the slope here. Makes the windows pointless if you think about it burrowing, because what would you be looking at? But still, it's not a bad-looking machine for what it is. It's, very basic. It's got like a construction orangey yellow with vaguely grayish black, almost like a gunmetal, like a really, really, really deep gunmetal. And those little hits of blue for windows. I think these might be also windows. These, I feel like, are lights. So they probably shouldn't be blue, but they might be windows. I don't know. One thing I do know is this thing is massive. Like you can see a ladder there and a door there. I don't know why they're so disconnected. Because that ladder doesn't go anywhere, and that door doesn't seem to go anywhere either. All I can figure is maybe it like pulls into a like a station or something like that, and then there's like a scaffolding that people actually walk along to, or like a gantry or something, and they use that to get in. There's some nice detailing on the inside of the treads, although nothing spectacular actually happening there, like the coloring is all uniform. Got the rolling wheels. A little bit of detailing on the big drills here, which are segmented but don't actually do anything. Like, I've been trying to figure out why there are two pins here, and they're on both sides of each of these bits, because it doesn't, like, there's a joint here, but not here. And this doesn't seem to want to turn or slide or split or anything, so I don't really know why those pins are there. But anyway, looking at it from the front, you can see there are some fists in there. Yeah, but the most egregious detail is, of course, when we look at him from the back. So when we look at him from the back, it's got tail lights for some reason. Not sure why a giant drilling machine needs tail lights. Some nice color separation, though, with the gunmetal and the orange. These little kind of... I want to say these could be like exhaust turbines or something like that for the smaller drills on the front. And then you've got a blatantly obvious head just sticking out there. It is possible to split it apart, push the head in, and clip it back together. I feel like in a way that almost looks worse. Because if you're looking at it from the back, now you've got this weird nonsense going on in here. It makes the head not obvious if you look at it from the side, but at the same time, it kind of messes up the transformation. It gives you like this unnecessary step. So we'll just clip all that back together. It's not a bad look. The orange that they used for paint is a little bit off though. Like here, especially up here. Seems like it could have used another coat. It's a little bit too dark compared to the other orange, but at the same time, it's spread around enough that it could almost be like they used 2 shades of orange on purpose. I don't know. Anyway, that's enough looking at Super Driller's details. Now, as for size comparisons, as I said, it's a little bit strange. This guy is actually a bit smaller than the average Tobot. Case in point, while Super Driller is definitely larger than a Siege Deluxe, I wouldn't say he dwarfs it. This is more, I guess, typical leader size. Maybe a little bit larger than that if we're talking about current size classifications. Areas with the duck tank, and bringing in all the other components of Master V. Actually, let me get speed out of the way here real quick. You can see that Super Driller is bigger than any one component of Master V. Bring back speed real quick here so we can do a slightly more side-by-side thing so you can see. Definitely bigger than speed. And this is one thing I didn't cover in the Master V video. I mentioned it, but I didn't show it. You can clip the toe key onto the back of Monster, and I feel like this is probably the least obnoxious way to store it. It's not great, but it does kind of get it out of the way while keeping it with everything else. So yeah, that is an option. And with that, we are ready to move on to Super Driller's robot mode. So, you all probably know the rules at this point. I'm just going to walk through it. First, I'm going to flip these sections of tread back. They just double hinge back like that. Then split the top section here and kind of butterfly that out. But I'm going to deal with the arms last. So next, going to bring these down a click, bring them out a click, down and out. Fold these down, and those will be his heels. And now we can stand him up. Okay, as for the arms, I find it's easiest to just bring them out one. These have like soft locking points. There's basically 3 positions, 1, 2, 3. So just bring them out one, just kind of give space so they're not clashing into the legs. And then finish folding these around, and there's a little pin and a hole that this will go into. You can kind of feel and hear a tiny little boop when it goes in. So do that. And then rotate these drills over, flip these back to reveal his fists, and then just pull those or bend his elbows a bit. And there we have Super Driller in his robot mode. And you know, all things considered, this is not a bad robot mode. It's not my favorite by any means in terms of general Tobot designs, but I think it works. And it definitely fits in with the Tobot V line where they added way more detailing and texture and stuff like that. Like classic Tobots, much smoother, much larger blocks of color that aren't generally broken up that much because, you know, it's a simpler cartoon look. But like these, a bit more involved and intricate in terms of design, and this totally fits in. He's still pretty much got the same 4-color scheme going on here with the dark, 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 almost gunmetal gray, the sort of school bus construction vehicle orange, and then a little bit of white, little bit of red. Okay, so it's primarily 3 colors, and then like little accents that are sometimes different colors, but still. And the breakup in robot mode is a lot more apparent than it was in drill mode, where it was, you know, kind of the darker colors on the bottom and the front, and then everything else was just orange primarily. But here it's like orange, gray. I'm just going to call this gray. So orange, gray, white, orange, orange and gray mixed together. Dogs and cats cooperating. It's total madness. Silhouette's not bad either. He's got like a very broad chest, though this looks more like the chest, and it almost looks like his shoulders are just really wide, which is weird. I mean, I know this is actually his chest, but like the way that the design, the color works, it kind of kind of fools the eye a little bit. They also kind of fake things a little bit here with the treads on the shoulders, because those treads are not used in the drill mode. All the drill mode treads are on the back here. But due to those big heels, stands up pretty nicely. Pretty stable. Like I said, I'm not super crazy about the individual robot mode look here, but I think the vehicle looks pretty nice. I think this looks okay. Like I don't dislike it. This isn't something that I look at and say like, ugh. But I think in terms of, as I said, just solo robot modes, I feel like this might actually be the weakest of the individual bots that I have. But I didn't get him for that. And we will get to the reason I got him, which we already know, and I don't know why I'm beating around the bush about it, but we'll get to that later. For now, definitely a successful design. I feel like this definitely looks like something that could have come from that big driller machine. As for the details, a fair number of them, at least in the legs, are all the same. It's just the drills are now legs. These bits here were actually visible in the vehicle mode, but now they're just accents for the thighs. The midsection is where all the new detail comes in, because he had this whole thing was just covered up by his arms. And it's simple detailing, but it's nice. It's definitely more involved than typical older Tobots. I also like the kind of smokestack exhaust looking things right around his shoulders. I feel like these could have been colored in or something to make them stand out a bit, but I still like the details there. The arms, as I said, they kind of fake the treads here and fake the rear lights there, but it still looks good. The hands are solid lumps, which is fine. I mean, it's a Tobot, I don't expect much. You can rotate the hand if you want, but then you have to kind of pull this out unless you go like 90 degrees. So you're kind of limited there. And also, if you want, you can totally give him drill hands. So I like that there are options. As for the head, it's very static. Like that thing's not moving. It's very squat too. It looks like his head's just kind of smooshed in. And I know that's pretty much for the transformation, but it's a look. I don't dislike it. It's just it's a little weird. But I do like that they kind of separated out everything. Is this in focus? I can't tell. I like that they separated out everything with color, how you've got the primarily orange, and this is the plastic itself is the orange color for the helmet, and then that nice gray stripe going up the middle into the crest there and into part of the face, but then the face is like that nice bright white that really stands out. He's also got some very light blue eyes, but there's still a little bit of a ring of gray around them, which on the one hand I feel like it helps keep them defined, but on the other hand I feel like the blue kind of gets lost when it's surrounded by the gray like that. I don't know if the blue would have shown up better if it was right next to the white, like if it didn't have that line separating everything, but it is what it is. That's also enough of looking at Super Driller's details, because I want to talk more about how big he is, which is to say, not very, comparatively. I mean, clearly, he's definitely bigger than a Siege Deluxe. He's probably a bit taller than a Siege leader, based on the 2 leader class figures that I have from Siege. And I can't say he dwarfs it, but he is also definitely larger than the Duck Tank. But then, to further illustrate my point, oh boy, here he is with Master V, and if you recall, you might recall if you watched the Master V video, let me pull this back, you might recall that Master V is a little bit taller than the average Tobot. Like I want to say maybe a head taller, give or take. So you can kind of get an idea of just how small Super Driller is in comparison to the average Tobot. Okay, now let's get to the real reason why I, and probably everyone, would ever get Super Driller, and that is the combination with Master V. Bring back Master V here, and I've already taken off his arms, because that's what he becomes. Also worth noting, the arms have been turned back into car halves. So, just gonna put those down there off to the side for now. And, okay, so there are a couple of different ways you could do this. The instructions tell you to do it with him together. You can separate him and do each one individually. I'm just going to do it together because I feel like it's a little faster. So, going to fold these back in and just leave the legs alone for now. I'm going to get his arms unpegged, straighten them out, and bring them in. Then get these drills positioned. And now I'm not going to rotate the drills yet because I always forget what the orientation is supposed to be. So instead, I'm going to bring these up a bit more and rotate them up. About 180 degrees. It'll probably end up being more than that at the end. And now with this oriented, I know that these get turned in like so. And then rotate this in the rest of the way. And here. And you could click them together, but you really don't need to because you're going to be separating it like so. Just going to bring that down so that it's more up against there. And fold this out. And that'll be that for now. And since this is going to be the right arm, I'm going to take this piece here, the front of the car, and clip that in. You can tell how it goes because you've got the clip and the little bits there, and then you've got the post and the little spring-loaded bits there. So that's how you know how to keep it oriented. And that just clips in over the arm. And for this side, it's pretty much the same thing except fold in the head. And bring that out and tilt that in. And then we take this half and orient that. And the best way that I can think of, I mean, you can double check with where everything aligns, but for me, the best way to remember which way you want to orient the car bits is just have the inside of the car pointing up. Okay, clip that in. There we go. And now comes the oddly complicated part. Well, not complicated, but it's trickier than you might think. And actually, you don't have to do this. I'm just going to do this because it makes things easier to do on camera. I'm going to push these buttons in to disconnect the torso. So that way I don't have the legs getting in the way. But as I said, you do not need to take the torso off the legs. I'm just doing this so that I can get it on camera easier. So, line this up. And again, you can see how it lines up, but at the same time, you can just kind of tell because you want to have the obvious fist with the thumb and everything on the proper side. And you just put it in like you would the regular arms. But what makes it tricky is this connection bit here that's inside here. It might require a little extra force, so you might need to kind of push in against the inside of the wing there. And you want to make sure you hear that click. And same thing on this side. And then we could put his torso back onto his body. So there we have Master V with his new arms. And this might have a name. I don't know. If I take the time to look it up and find one, I will put it right down here at the bottom of the screen. But yeah, this looks cool. I do like the beefier arms here, and of course the bigger shoulders because I like big shoulders. But at the same time, he definitely looks lopsided. Those legs are a little bit on the skinny side. I mean, they were a little bit on the skinny side when he had the narrower arms. So now that he's got these enormous beefcake arms, they're definitely looking a little weedy. But that's okay. I still think it looks cool. And the colors work because the orange in the bumpers is pretty much the same orange as the plastic in the arms there. Now, the orange in the waist and the torso is a little bit off. The same with the wheels. This orange is a little bit darker, but then this orange, while it doesn't necessarily match the plastic, does actually seem to match the orange for the drills better. So it works. I am impressed the way they managed to color code everything. That said, I think this guy's going to look a lot better and more cohesive once I get the other two bits that attach to him so that I can beef up the legs and I guess give him wings. It doesn't look like it does much else than give him wings. But at the very least, the train will make him taller and beef out his legs a bit. But I have no idea how long I gotta wait before that comes out. This guy, Super Driller, just kind of came out of nowhere and surprised me. Oh, and if we rotate him around, because why not? Oh, jeez. You can see it also beefs him up from the back a little bit. And yeah, he's got kibble with the drills and such, but I don't mind it. The one thing that kind of concerns me about this is these arms are heavy. It really, you can see how his torso is kind of all over the place. I'm not concerned in the sense that, like, I get the impression that things are going to break on me due to the weight. He seems to be holding it together really well. Things are a little bit wobbly, but there's a lot of weight up there, so I don't really think that's unreasonable. It concerns me a little bit. Maybe something could fail due to the constant weights, and that could create a problem. Maybe. I don't necessarily think it will, because this whole thing is fairly sturdily made. Tobots are made pretty darn well, but that's a lot of weight. It's a lot of weight. This guy, I'm not going to say he weighs as much as one of the larger third-party combiners that I have, but he's getting up there, and there are still 2 more, at least, parts that are going to be slapped on here. So he might weigh as much as Barbarian King by the time this is done. I don't know. Anyway, that is going to do it for Tobot v Super Driller. Not super great as a standalone figure. I don't think he's bad as a standalone figure, but there are so many other Tobots out there that are better as standalones, even as part of a combiner. This guy is decent, and he's trying to go up against excellent. It's kind of an unfair comparison, but I'm still making it. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like adding him to Master V, this definitely works. This is cool, and I cannot wait to get the other bits to add on to him to turn him into just a giant monstrosity. I'm very much looking forward to that. What do you all think of Super Driller and, by extension, Master V with giant drill arms? Is Super Driller the kind of figure that you could see yourself getting as a standalone? If you were to go in on the Master V set or the Tobot V line, would you want to have them all combined up into the one big mode, or would you want to keep them separate? Because I will say, I haven't done Big Troll yet, but Big Troll is freaking awesome, and both Big Trail and Troll are really, really cool as standalone bots. The only reason I have them combined is because it saves shelf space. But that's for another time. Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. And while you're at it, also feel free to like, subscribe, or if you're feeling generous, you can buy me a coffee. There'll be a link in the description below. Any of those things would make me a happy Rob. And remember, art is more than meets the eye.